Greetings, everybody, and welcome back to another installment of the Jegna and The Thinker. I am one of your co-hosts, Brandon Jones, and I'm joined by my man, Aaron. How you doing today, Aaron?
What's going on, B? How you feeling, man?
Hey, man, I'm maintaining. It's been an interesting past a week and a half here in the Twin Cities with the
Wow.
Chauvin, the Chauvin trial.
I was gonna say the Chauvin. I call it the Chauvin show, but I don't. You could. It's the Chauvin show. There's a lot of showcasing going on out there, man.
It's funny because I almost slipped up and said show. So it's funny that
You
we
could have
both are
said it.
thinking the same thing. I said, let me the
Yep.
Chauvin trial. So yeah, man, it's been fascinating. The emotional state of Black folks, not just here in the Twin Cities, but just around the country, is very elevated right now, and for good reason. I mean, we are continuing to deal with stuff over and over. Then we had Dante Wright that ended up happening literally on that Monday. So it's been a long week and a half or so here in the Twin Cities. But how are you doing?
Same thing. Just trying to avoid the trauma. Things have been pretty peaceful on my end, but it's. I had to do a little social media break. I think we recommend them, but I had to do a little social media break because it was just traumatic experience after traumatic experience, and I just need to exhale, man.
Yeah.
I just need to exhale. It was just getting overwhelming for me, but I'm doing well. I'm on location. I got the nature in the background. I got, you know what I'm saying? I'm in South Carolina, so okay. I'm just out here, just relaxing, spending some time with my lady, and here to talk about some really, really, really positive stuff, man, that I think that brothers and sisters will enjoy. So,
absolutely, and that's what we do. So, amidst all this trauma and anti-Blackness that we deal with, in this episode, we want to talk a little bit more about some positive things and how, as Black men, we've come to two positions within our lives. Me being in the social service and in academia kind of fields, and then Aaron being in the entrepreneurial space. We want to talk about our journeys and how we got here, and hopefully that this is going to be a conversation that's constructive, so that if you are associated with the young Black men or you're a young Black man yourself, you're having two people talk about their experiences to give you some encouragement to keep pushing forward in spite of how society has crafted narratives that we cannot be successful and we can't do positive things. So with that, the first question for you, Aaron, is tell us a little bit about your journey to where you're at, professionally now, because it didn't start this way, right? The silver spoon and the networks and all that. So how'd you get to where you at?
Well, the funny thing is, I tell people all the time, I grew up in Jamaica, Queens, in a part of New York called St. Albans. And really, that area, I just call it Black excellence. I mean, in my neighborhood, James Brown, Babe Ruth lived there. They said Babe Ruth might have been Black. So I'm going to put him on the team for today. But Ella Fitzgerald, Malcolm X lived about 3-4 blocks up the street. So in that particular area, we always had Black professionals. I grew up in a household where my mother was a teacher and my dad was a pastor. I wasn't necessarily the one that was the most focused and the most disciplined, but I can tell you, Brandon, being a 43-year-old man today, just being around that environment, I grew up in the Cosby stage. Go away, go to college, and become a professional. And so I actually went to school, attended Delaware State University, because I haven't finished, I have a few credits left. But what I noticed about myself professionally is that I always was working. I worked when I was in high school. I worked when I was in college. I had different jobs. I worked at credit card companies, but I was always in sales. I was doing copier maintenance when I was in college. I worked at Discover Bank while I was there. And so I was always in sales, and I was a good communicator. And really also I met one of my mentors, my best friend, Mr. Rayvon Hicks, and we got into sales together. We were doing some network marketing, but it was in that environment that I actually learned what I think Kevin Samuels uses the term as some high income skills, which was selling. I learned how to sell. I learned how to be a good salesperson. I learned how to communicate with people. And I just learned how to just be able to work in corporate environments. And so from there, I've been in the mortgage business for the last 15 years. And I've had my last 5 years have been highest earning. I'm in the upper 5% nationwide. And that's just because I decided to own my skills. I do professional development. I take classes. I'm in training. I do therapy. I invest into myself. But I can really tell you that my foundation started by seeing other Black men around me, from whether I was a kid, whether or not that I was in a college environment, or even in my household. I saw other professional Black men. So my idols were not really street guys. Even though I love the music, my idols weren't really street guys, if that made sense.
Absolutely. And my upbringing's slightly different than yours, right? I grew up like poor. I grew up with like nothing. And I was one of those smart kids who didn't have a lot of things to really like enhance his intelligence. And the only thing that I had really was football. Now, high awareness in football can lead you to some good places on the field. Like, you have to be able to pay attention. But again, academically, I was able to shine there. But I went to public school all my life. And honestly, I had to give a lot of credit to my mom as far as how did I get to where I'm at today? Because she used to tell us things, and I don't think she realized that. I don't think she was intentionally telling us. I think she was just saying stuff to me as her oldest son, and then my two younger brothers. She would just give us these little nuggets of wisdom, like don't put all your eggs in one basket. Like
like Ma, you like Ma, I ain't got no damn eggs.
What what are you talking about? Basket. I'm just trying to hold on to the one egg I got.
Right.
She would say these things, and it would always just stick with me. Like, what does she mean? So as a kid, I was always very curious. Like, if I heard something or seen something in a movie, I'd be that kid that goes try to figure out what it means or what it said, words and stuff like that. So like, I always was like, what does that mean? But one thing about my mom, she gonna kill me when she sees this, is my mom has always been bad with money. Like, that's one thing I knew right away, is like, my mom don't know how to like manage money well. Like, I always was like, we don't got a lot of money, but when we had money, it would be gone so fast. Man, I remember there was one time
she had a hole in her pocket. That's what that is.
Right. There was one time we had my mom and my grandmother, and actually we were in the car, me and my brother. We got in a bad car accident, and then there was a settlement. So I remember we came up on like a good chunk of money at one point. And I remember us just like BMF, man, blowing money fast. We got a bunch of stuff real quick. We went and got a Bronco. We got a Rottweiler. We had the best groceries we ever had in our lives.
Wait, Tom, hold on, wait. Did you say you had the best groceries you ever had?
The best groceries we ever had. And we didn't get the big welfare bag of cereal. We got Kellogg's. Yeah, we was balling for like 3 months, and then we was back.
I'm not laughing, but that's so real, because so many of us, man, that happens so often. I mean, that's the story of a lottery winner. When you think about it, they balling for like 5 years, and all of a sudden they back and working at the plant, and it's like they looking at you like, you're not supposed to be here, bro. Like,
man, and I remember, I bring it up because I remember, of all my childhood memories, that's one I remember very distinctly, because it was like life changed. It was like, oh, we got money, and then we didn't have money. And I was just like, what happened? But wait, we was balling. Like, what happened?
Like,
we went to Target. I got new Ninja Turtles and everything.
Oh, like, you was killing it.
Yeah,
you was killing it.
And it was over. I was back. I was like, what the heck? But what that did for me psychologically was like, okay, when I come up on some money, I know how to make it stretch, right? I know how to stretch it, because I know that feeling of having something and then not having it no more. Right. So the way I taught myself financial literacy skills was do everything opposite that my mom did. She's gonna kill me when she hears this. But what my early hustles was cutting grass, shoveling snow, and watching kids. So yes, so at the age of like 11 and 12, I have an aunt. She was a young aunt. And what do young women like to do? They like to go out and party. All her friends had babies. Y'all want to go out? Cool. Friday and Saturday? Cool. Give me $20 per kid.
Look, be the babysitter. I see you,
Give me $20 per kid. You know what I would do? I would take one of them 20s. I would go to one of our local grocery stores called Cub Foods. They used to have this 5 for like 10 pizza deal. I'll get 5 pizzas, take everybody's kids. I'll make 2 of them pizzas, make a big pallet in the living room, put on the Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon, and boom, I just made like $200.
Hey, adults, there was no nutritional value in Brandon's daycare.
Hey, man, listen, they was drinking Capri Suns and eating Jack's pizzas, and I was making money. So that was my hustle on the weekends. And then when I got a little older, I was working with my grandfather at a golf course. Okay. He was giving me $50, but the tips is what was getting. So I was coming out every weekend, if I didn't go to my grandfather's, I'll be at home babysitting. Every weekend, I'm making like $300 at 12 years old. So,
wow.
so when I'm in middle school, I'm a baller. People think I'm selling drugs, but no, I'm just hustling, babysitting, and going to the golf course. Yeah. So everybody thought I was selling drugs in middle school, but I wasn't. So on one end in middle school, I'm getting straight A's. On the other end, everybody thinks I'm cool because I'm the dude who's balling out for alley cart. So you want some Debbie snacks? They cost like 25 cents. All right, everybody getting Debbie snacks because I can blow $15. It ain't nothing. So that's how I made my reputation. I was the dude who played football, who they thought sold drugs and made money, but really I was a little nerd who was just faking doing the whole thing. So I always kept that. Like even in high school, I had got a job early at the hospital, the same hospital my mother worked at. They let me work in the cafeteria. They let me. You couldn't work there till you were 15, but they let me start a little early. So at like 15 years old, I'm making $12 an hour at the hospital, bro.
That's pretty good, man. Yeah.
I'm getting $800 checks in the 9th and 10th grade, bro. Like I was balling in high school compared to the other kids. Money to me was always something I knew I had to get, but I always kept it in the back of my head. Don't keep all your eggs in one basket. So I would, if I wasn't working, I would be doing something else to make some money on the side. At that time, burning CDs was a big thing. So my aunt had a computer. I went to Best Buy and bought a CD burner, and I'll be making mixtapes for everybody, selling them for $5 a pop. What songs you want? Let me know. I knew about Napster. I know about LimeWire and BearShare.
You was killing it. Oh, man, you bringing the names back. Oh, man.
I'm balling, bro. Who you want your mixtape? What you want to call? I'll write the name of your mixtape on you. What volume you want it? What song? Give me a list. Boom, I had this for you tomorrow. Bring $5. I go to Best Buy, get 100 stack of CDs, bro.
Yeah, the big boxes. I remember that. But Brandon,
that's $500. Go ahead.
But no. But I think this is important because at a young age, and I grew up in a totally different environment to basically my parents. I was spoiled rotten.
Sure.
But I always worked, and that's because I always saw people around me working.
Right.
And they were always around me working. And I remember I worked at a summer camp for 3 summers in a row. I used to work weddings at my dad's church. I had internships. Same thing. I used to make mixtape. Nobody ever bought my mixtape, but I used to do my own mixtape. But I always had a spirit of just working because all the men that were directly around me, I saw them working. And one of the more interesting things that I'm thinking about now, my parents were very good at money, but they never talked to me about money. Very good at money. I think I said this before. My parents had 700 credit scores when they came out the womb, like 800 when they came out, but they never talked to me about it. So it was almost like what they did with me was this, like, well, we're going to let him drive the car, crash it.
Right.
But instead of teaching him, they kind of tried to clean it up.
Right.
And so at my age, when I was younger, the main things I can tell you now is I have better discipline, but I lacked a lot of discipline due to other traumatic experiences, but I lacked a lot of discipline. And that's why I was always the most talented kid in the class, but I never had good grades because I didn't have the commitment. The teacher would be like, dude, this guy, like, you're incredible. But I'm like, I don't want to be here. I want to go out with my girl and go to the village and eat hot dogs and just chase women. And that was also a thing that we saw in my community. So it was just a balance. But I think the key thing for both of us and for young people that are out there looking, what you're going to do today, whatever age you are, 25, 30, it starts when you're young and developing very good habits. And I don't think as men, we talk about that enough. Developing really, really good habits. So when you get older, it can help you because that's your foundation. If you're going to work when you're 15, you're going to work when you're 40. And this is a long-term marathon. And I think sometimes in the Instagram era, Brandy, you know this, Instagram era, social media, it's all about a quick buck, but we're not teaching people to have careers, to be entrepreneurs, to be consultants, to go to school, to if you're going to work a job, fine, but turn it into a career, develop good skills. We're just giving people a picture, but we're not giving them the full spectrum of what it takes to be successful because this is a marathon, as Nipsey said.
Absolutely.
And we don't describe it as that, though. Everybody wants to be a microwave.
Yeah, well, we stay in a hustle mentality.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So what I was just talking about was all hustle, right? Getting that quick buck. I had a job, but I ran it like a hustle because I'm only going to be working like 4 hours a day because I'm 14, 15 years old at that time. I couldn't work more than that. So it was all hustle to me. I didn't learn business skills till I was a senior in high school. I had elective classes. This white woman teacher. I don't remember her name, But man, I wish I knew who she was so I can reach back out to her and thank her.
Thank her.
Because
Absolutely.
she was burnt out in her job. She told us this. She said, you know what? This is my last time teaching. I'm tired of teaching. But one thing I'm going to give you all is some knowledge to help you with your life. This class had like 8 students in there. Most of us was black. She said, I'm going to teach you guys how to manage your money. It was an accounting class. Man, she taught us the ins and outs of accounting. So I'm like 17 learning about how to accounting. So mind you, I had a job. So I had money. But I didn't know how to manage it. My money, I'm just blowing it. One of the most important things this teacher taught us, she said, I'm going to teach you how to get good credit because most of you are going to end up going to college. And we're just going to, and then she told us, if you go, she asked us what schools we're going to. I was going to University of Minnesota. She was like, oh, perfect. On a campus that size, you're going to have credit card companies sitting outside and they're going to be offering you things like free Subway sandwiches, pizzas, t-shirts, etc.
Brandon, we got to take a time out. So I want the audience to pay attention to this. Brandon, don't lose your thought.
No, I'm learning.
So Brandon was receptive to having good credit and was listening in high school. We had the same experience. I don't care how old we are. I go to college. They say, hey, bruh, we got a free t-shirt over here. Really? I get a t-shirt?
Hey.
What I got to do? Fill out this paper. We all online. Now, mind you, Brandon, this is a HBCU.
Yep.
So we're all standing online.
Yep.
I got a Macy's card. I had a Discover card. I had a Visa. I'm going to the mall, mind you. So I want everybody to understand this. We come from 2 different backgrounds. My parents did very, very well for themselves. Did not have this conversation with me. I go to school. I get to college. They're like, look, get all these cards. I'm like, oh, I got these things called credit cards, man. And 6 months later, so I get these hold on. 6 months later, you owe us $3,000. What do you mean I owe you $3,000?
What?
How am I supposed to pay you back, Brandon? I had bad credit and I was 19.
Man.
Literally, I had bad credit. I was 19, and I can tell you, when I was in school, that might have been, and I'm gonna make this number high. That might have been 45% of the students there. Because there were women that I was involved with, friends that I had, guys, girls. Yep. They always, man, I got bad credit. Wow. Yep. Opened up some credit cards. I got a free t-shirt and I'm borrowing money I can't pay back. So I didn't mean to cut you off, but I thought that's a good dichotomy of exactly 2 different experiences. Brandon being receptive and someone else not being receptive to the same thing, and those results being catastrophic. Go ahead.
Way different, man.
Yeah, man.
Now, why was I receptive? This is gonna shock you. So the reason why I was receptive is because of Young Jeezy. All right. Hey. So this will let y'all know how old I am. So around this time, I remember watching I think it wasn't Rap City because Young Jeezy started popping right after Rap City was kind of dying off.
Smack DVD?
He was on something. I remember watching him talk about, and somebody asked him a question, said, Jeezy, what's been the biggest thing that you've learned since you blew up? And he said, I learned about credit. And he said, I've been getting money for a long time, but getting credit is just different. He was like, man, it's just opened up different things. So the light bulb popped in my head because I like the snowman at the time. We all had them long snowman t-shirts on. Man, I'm like, what the hell is credit? So when Jeezy said it, and I respect him and idolize him as a hustler because I think I'm hustling like him without selling drugs. He's talking about get that credit because that gives you access to other stuff. Right, so that's why I was receptive. So when this white lady comes to me and she's like, I'm gonna teach you about credit, I'm like, hey, let's do it. Hey, right. So this is what she tells me. She says, okay, she tells us because this is a small class. Right. She's like, to build your credit, you need to go apply for a credit card. Just get one at a place where you can use it for multiple things. She said either Target or Walmart. She's like, because you're going to go to college and what are you going to need? You're going to need food, clothes. You might even want some entertainment or stuff. She says, you're only going to get a small amount. They're probably going to give you like $400. Hell, some of you might get like $1,000. She says, don't buy anything unless you have the cash to pay it off first. So what did I do? So literally, after, I think it was the first week of college, me and my best friend today, we hop on the bus, we go to Target. In my mind, I'm going to get an iPad and I was going to get the Carter 2 was coming up. No, This is no lie. Yeah. So I had the money to buy it, or I had the cash to buy it. But what did I do? I went to the where to sign up for credit card. So me and him, we signed up for a Target. I still have the same Target credit card.
Credit card today?
Yeah. So my Target credit card dates back to 2004 because that was the first credit card I opened. They gave me a $300 limit. I took that credit. I said, when can I use this? She said, you can use it today. Just give them this number. Boom, boom, boom. I went from talking to this customer service person to going to electronic department, got an iPad and a card or two and rolled up out of there. And then I paid it off by the end of the month. And that's how I started to build my credit from there. And I would just, if I needed anything, deodorant, you know, some snacks or whatever for the dorm, I would go to Target, boom, good to go, keep moving forward. And so that's how I built my credit. So by the time I graduated college, bro, I had 730 credit score. I had a car. I was the only dude that I knew in my friend group who had a car. I was the ride for everybody. I had gas, but I always kept hustling on the side. Still making mixtapes and stuff like that because I thought that we still had DVD players. I was everybody's ride, so everybody give me a little gas money, even though I didn't need it. I was still making money on the side, but I understood how to build credit at the same time. So if I wanted an iPod, if I needed a new laptop, that's just when laptops were starting to become popular. If I needed a computer, I would just go get my own stuff and then pay it off. So for me, what's important here is understanding how to transition those hustle skills to business and financial literacy skills. They're different. But the crossover can make you a dynamic person when it comes to managing money, because a lot of people don't have that. When you have street knowledge and you can add that to book knowledge and you can add that to corporate 100%, knowledge, 100%. Business knowledge, you are a dynamic force. And I think that's the advantage that many Black people have, especially Black men, because we can literally kind of like a chameleon. We can be in any one of those spaces and maintain and make a living and make a life. And that's why you see folks like Jay-Z and 50 Cent who can do those things. Steve Stouts who can do those things and be in many different different skill sets. And there's so many. The crazy part about it is those are just the folks we know. There's a lot of Black folks that you don't have a clue who they are, making bank. They got more money than the entertainers, but because they're the agents of the entertainers, things like that. One of the people that I respect, and I'm gonna pass the mic, is Rich Paul.
Oh, listen,
love
Rich,
him and
Mav. Let me tell you something. Them dudes, they are, and we're talking about achievement, but Rich, Bron, and Mav to you guys is, for us, it was Dame, Jay, and Biggs.
Right.
Because when we saw them, I remember us being in college and we just saw these three young Black men. I'm not talking about the background, but they were talking about making money. They were talking about being professional. They were talking about being entrepreneurs and building something. And that's the first time. And so remember, I'm from New York. Yep. So you guys, you're not from the South, but the Master P's and the Jay Princes from the hip hop side, that didn't appeal to us. But when we saw Puff and we saw Big and we saw all these guys, and we're like, man, these guys they're not talking about poverty. They are talking about actual wealth. Now, we were a little bit fooled in reference to the fancy stuff and the trinkets and like Mr. Fuller likes to call them. But we just seeing that was like, okay. And that was the blueprint. And then LeBron, Mav, and Rich, they just took it to a level, truth be told, that, Brandon, it's incredible. Like, it is unbelievable what those young men are doing. And they are a blueprint for what we're talking about today, because other young men, I'm not even talking about if you can make it to the NBA. Look at those are three guys that have different skills. But the one thing that people don't remember when they look at that situation, and I think as Black men, we can really learn, is that remove the ego. One guy had the talent. LeBron drives the whole deal, because if he doesn't make it, this looks totally different. But LeBron had the talent. Mav said, my man's got the talent. I need to go work for Nike. Rich says, my man's got the talent. I need to learn how this money. And they all came together and they formed like Voltron. But Bron had the focus and the discipline, and they had a plan as young men, Brandon. I mean, you just think about it, dude. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And then they just came in and took over the NBA. So that's a great example. That's a great example, man.
And again, there should be books, documentary films on each one of them.
Yes.
Like, we get excited about Space Jam coming back. We need to be learning how they did that.
Yes.
I mean, and these are young dudes.
Dudes.
We're the same age as these guys.
Young dudes.
And they did it 20 years ago. Like, I'm like, man, just seeing that and being able to follow it to a certain extent has just gave me so much encouragement that we can do this. We can disrupt industries, and when we do it, we do it well. Clutch Sports is one of the biggest sports agencies out there, to the point where you got coaches, general managers, and owners making negative statements about these guys because they're changing the old boys club. this is what we need to be having more young people becoming on those tracks. You know, when we talk about idolizing, like those are people who should be in the history books. Talk about Black American history. Those are three men right there.
120%. Yeah, and the other thing is, Brandon, I think you're similar to me. My circle of just men and that I talk to every day, business owners.
Yeah.
My buddy Reg, engineer. Got another buddy. He's a real estate investor.
Yeah.
A guy I went to school with, biochemistry engineer,
right.
and teaches at Georgia Tech. These are the circles, and sometimes we also need to do a better job as men and as a community of highlighting the people that are doing the work that's not flashy. Right. And the majority of us are not flashy.
Right.
The majority of us are doing jobs. We're in the background. We're gaining traction, trying to be better in our fields. We can actually compete. And that's one thing that I had to learn that I appreciate Philippe even continues to tell us, is that, listen, you guys are not trying to get somewhere.
Right.
You can compete.
Right.
We can compete. And I think that we even have to change how we view ourselves and saying, okay, I'm going to be the first Black person. No. I can just compete. I just happen to be good at what I do. And we have to gain that identity. But dude, we have so many great Black professionals that are around us. Absolutely. Judges, doctors, lawyers, entrepreneurs, white collar, blue collar, guys that own companies, employing people, but we need more of them. Right. And that's the reason why we're talking about, we need more of that. And we're just trying to be examples. I know that every year I do a program to where I help kids with interviews. And Brandon, I can tell you, I love doing that because the young Black males that come in with me, every time after, I give them the game. Yep. Listen, if you're not going to wear a shirt and tie, you don't even need to be talking to me. Yep. If you're not going to have good grammar on your resume, I don't know why it's here for. I'm not trying to be hard on you, but you have to learn how to compete. And if you are not willing to compete, you are going to get eaten up in this world. And that's one thing that we have to remember. We are competing. And as men, we don't talk about that. Like we like to talk about LeBron and Jordan competing on the court.
Only in sports, yep.
But okay, how are you competing in business?
Yep.
How's your customer service as a company? How do you handle your clients? And we're not talking about this, but these are things that we can do to help mentor each other, man.
Right.
Even in your spaces, I know that that's an issue.
Absolutely. Yeah. Black men have not been conditioned to socially organize to oppose environments.
Yes.
So when you say competing, from the black filter is flexing on one another. That's not what you're talking about.
No, I ain't talking about that. No, I'm not talking about competing. I'm talking about like you get on the court and I get on the court and we are playing to win.
Yes.
And I might win today and you might win today, but we are playing to win. I'm not talking about flexing on you because I got money, because guess what? The numbers don't lie, Brandon. Our wealth is here. We'll be flexing.
Right. And even if one of us does have individual success, it doesn't mean a lot. It doesn't mean a lot if we're not all collectively growing and moving forward together. So it's important for us to keep that in mind. And I mentioned the flexing piece because that's where we will go, because we've been conditioned as Black men that competition means destroying one another, not sharpening one another's abilities. We see this in the conscious community all the time. That, you know, everybody got a title. I'm King Kong this and all that. Everybody got a title, but nobody's working collaboratively together if it's not benefiting the person with the title. Because then what ends up happening is just the fighting. And we see these beefs with all these Black men who are seen as Black men of some type of substance. I don't want to use high value Black men, but they're seen as Black men of substance, and then they end up fighting one another. It's because we haven't learned how to collectively work in a collaborative manner as men in opposing environments. Because what is that called in our society? It's called patriarchy. But again, who says that Black males who structure themselves together to build are going to be patriarchs like white men? Because we know in our community, we don't get a lot of things done without our women. We need to have a collaborative amongst both Black men and Black women. But it don't work if Black men don't know how to work together without competing in a flex context. We don't need to flex on each other. It doesn't matter. And unfortunately, our media conditions us to flex on one another. Oh, you got that? I got the Richard Mille. Okay. Oh, you got a Benz? All right. Well, I got the Lambo truck. And now my Lambo truck, I got 3 of them. You got the same damn Lambo truck, man. It don't matter if you got 4 of them or not. But that's what we do. Like it's to the point where it's like, what if you are at the top of the mountain? What does that even mean?
Well, let's be real. You got a Lambo truck. This guy owns a company and he employs 50,000 people. What are we talking about? And we're not, you see what I'm saying? This is the flexing. What exactly are we talking about? Oh, I'm in the club and things of that nature. I'm not saying that you don't do those things, but this guy has provided and built something that can employ people. And as Black men, these are things that we need to be thinking about doing. When we're always talking about for Black male achievement and trying to help young men and young women, but specifically young men, we need to be providing infrastructure. I don't care. Like for me, I work at a job, but I also do consulting as well.
Right.
If I can provide an opportunity for my sons and other people to come work at my job, then I'm helping somebody. For anybody, if you're a business owner, create an infrastructure to where you can employ people. That's the only way that we're going to start to see some improvement in some of these results. Is like you said, we're working collaboratively. Brandon and I don't know each other from a can of paint, but we're collaborating here. The #1 business show on the planet is Earn Your Leisure. I keep shouting those guys out because what they did is incredible. 2 years, young Black men. This is what we do, y'all. This is not an anomaly. This is what's going to be normal. Black men coming together, creating constructive content and providing information for the community so we can grow individually, because no one is coming to save us. Nobody. And I ain't looking for nobody to save us because I can compete.
Right. Exactly. And we should expect competition.
Yes.
And don't be afraid of it. And again, we can make all the content in the world, but if you don't apply, it doesn't mean anything. It's just
100%.
us talking to each other. We'll keep getting better, but you don't get any better because you're not applying it. And when it comes to Black men, we have to put things into application. I meet young Black dudes all the time with good knowledge, man. They know stuff. They know what they should do and what they shouldn't do, but they don't apply it all the time. Right. It's like they just gave up on application. They gave up. Like, it's like something with the encouragement and the hope factor that we lost. And I want to bounce something off of you real quick.
Yeah, what you got?
So one of the things that I've seen with a lot of young Black men is what I call like they have like fantasy thinking. So it's like they want these things, these objects, these trinkets, as Mr. Fuller says, but they don't do anything in the moment to get them. So it's like, instead of a vision or a mission towards it, it seems more like a fantasy. Is that something that you've seen where they're like, I want the big house, I want the car, I want the foreign woman, whatever, but it's like, you can have all those things, but are you doing anything to get there to get it? So
I think that yeah, I agree with that. I think in the I'm about to say manosphere, man. That's the first I don't think in the manosphere.
Let's go ahead.
In the manosphere, that's what we talk about being on purpose. And I've been very transparent that I was very, very mediocre up until 5 years ago because I didn't understand my purpose on what I was supposed to be just as a Black man in my community. The example I'm supposed to be, the father I'm supposed to be, the professional I'm supposed to be, how I need to be grounded spiritually, controlling my emotions. And so that's why you kind of see people are just floating because, and I think Dr. Welsing said it best, is that you are not, as a Black person, you are not supposed to go away to school and not bring those skills back to your community to help your people. Right. And sometimes that affects us. I know that affected me. And that's why sometimes you just see the fantasy. Brandon, honestly, the reason why we see the fantasy is because I don't think brothers think they can compete. And when you don't think you can compete, you just dream. Damn. That can't be me. That's not me. But the moment that you figure out that I can actually do that, it auto corrects itself from fantasy and it goes into I'm going to do the work. Right. And when you start doing the work, you'll start to get results. You can say you want all those things, but do you believe that you even can belong in that space? Do you actually believe that you could have the #1 mental health therapy platform on the planet? Do I believe I can be the best lender on the planet? Do you believe my son owns a sneaker business? Do I believe that I can own the #1 consignment company on the? You see what I'm saying? Right. If you don't believe that you can actually compete in a space, you'll always say, man, that would be great to have, but I'm going to fantasize about it. And also, we sell fantasy as a community. Ooh. We sell trinkets. We don't sell concepts and wealth. We sell trinkets. I'm going to sell you the Rolly, but I'm not going to sell you the 40 to 50 hours a week that it takes for you to get that. Ooh. I'm going to sell you the big house, but I'm not going to sell you the fact that it took me 5 years to save up $500,000. It took me to build my business. The sacrifice I had to make. I was in my basement every day, or I was out knocking on doors. You see what I'm saying? It's easy for us to be sold that bill of goods because we haven't always seen it. And then also the last thing I'm going to say, we don't respect and I'm talking about we as a community, We do not respect the everyday, ordinary, successful Black man,
Ooh.
whatever that looks like. We do not,
Break
we
it
do
down.
not respect that. We respect Jay. We respect all these guys that are abnormal. And I'm gonna do this cross community, Brandon.
Yeah.
Human beings in general. Jeff Bezos is an anomaly.
Yeah.
He is not the normal.
Right.
The normal, and which is not bad, and the normal isn't, man, I'm sounding like Kevin. The normal,
Go ahead, Mr.
the normal,
Samuels.
but the normal could be the plumber. The normal might be my father, who's a pastor for 40 to 50 years. The normal could be my mother, who taught special education. The normal could be the nurse. The normal could be the plumber. The normal could be the electrician, the truck driver. These are solid positions in our community to where people are making solid incomes. The normal could be the retail manager that's been working there for 30, 40 years, invested in their 401k, and has created a stable home for their family. But we idolize the opposite of that, when what we should be striving for is solid communities. We're striving for Flash. Flash don't work.
Ooh.
And we have Flash don't work. What does our community look like? And that's why people always go back, Brandon, and they say 60 to 70 years ago, Dad used to be able to work at the plant and be able to put his kids through school, and Mama was at home because the communities were more stable. Right. Guess what, y'all? I know what y'all are going to say. Yes, crack happened, all this stuff. I get that. It doesn't matter. Now we have to pick up the pieces and solve the problems, but we have to respect the everyday job, the entrepreneur. And then I think if we respect that, we'll see some shifts in our communities. Why do you think kids, man, Brandon, they want to be YouTube stars?
Yeah.
It's still 1 in a million.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Dude, come on, man. Look, I'll let you go. I'll be watching O'Shea. I ain't gonna lie, man. I'll be watching O'Shea. I'm like, yo, O'Shea is putting in work. He does a video every day, Brandon.
Yeah.
That's what it takes to be successful.
Yeah.
But people want to be in love with the guy that's got the Lambo, but they don't want to be in love with the fact he's doing 3 videos a day, and he's been doing that for 3 years. You don't even want to go on live for 10 minutes, you know?
From Africa, by the way. He's
from Africa.
Not even here.
Shout out to O'Shea, man.
Yeah, O'Shea Duke Jackson.
Shout out to O'Shea, man.
O'Shea. Man, I mean,
we don't respect it, B. We don't respect it. We don't.
And I can give you an actual real example of how we don't respect it. There's an organization here. They're called Summit Academy, and they provide vocational training. They're right smack dab in the middle of North Minneapolis, where the black folks are here in Minnesota.
Okay.
Dude, they provide. It's such a dope program, and there's several of these types of programs throughout the Twin Cities. They provide vocational training, so you can become a welder, you can become electrician, you can become the various different types of engineers, and these are jobs that will start you at like $32 an hour, bro. Like at starting, these are accelerated programs. Mm-hmm. They struggle so bad to get black men to utilize these programs that they start to incentivize people to come to the program. We will give you a bus pass. We'll give you gift cards every time you come, just to get black men to come. And the damn things are pretty much free. I mean, this program is so well respected that they'll get money from the state. They'll get money from companies who need the employees to train them to work in their actual jobs, and we won't complete them. There's a cultural thing going on here.
Yeah, that's why I said it. I mean, because I know one of the things, the white collar, blue collar, and not like, for example, in my business, I do mortgages. Mm-hmm. I can't do anything if the construction guys aren't out there building the houses.
Right.
I am useless. I am useless. So I need the contractors to go out there and to build properties and to fix buildings, so I can help people get financing so they can do mortgages. And we do a lot of them, but I can't do anything if we don't have builders or contractors or electricians and plumbers. So the respect has to go both ways. And as men, there's so many opportunities out there for us to be great. But if you don't believe that you can compete and build something in your own culture, everything is for naught. And that's the number one thing that we have to do, is believe that we compete and we have a space. And I know that's a mental part of it, but you have to believe that you are enough to compete. That's the first step to everything we're talking about. I don't care whether you're in high school, college, if you're in your mid-40s, you're going through a crisis, you actually have to believe that you have a purpose and that you can compete then everything else will change itself because you'll start behaving differently, man. You'll start behaving differently.
Absolutely. Let me throw one more at you.
Oh boy.
So don't worry, I'm not gonna get you. You're not gonna get caught in the web. Don't worry.
No, I'm straight.
So I'm pretty sure you're familiar with a lot of business content, the Gary V's of the world, the Eric Thomases.
Yeah. I like Gary V. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So they talk a lot about like grit, right? They talk a lot about going through adversity and how that makes you a good entrepreneur, a good business person is when you can 100%. Go through struggle, you can on the other end of that, you are better off because you know how to get it from the mud, so to say. Mm-hmm. Now, I've always had this thought, and I said, Black folks, we should be the best damn entrepreneurs in this country because if anybody's getting it from the mud, it's us. Like for real, mm-hmm. We should be able to show anybody the possibilities of making something happen without having a lot. Mm-hmm. What do you think about that concept of going through adversity and becoming successful professionally? Do you think that that's something that Black men could utilize to advance us into the further when it comes to economics or just community development in general? Or do you think it's something that kind of hurts us a little bit? What are your ideas and your thoughts from like going through adversity to becoming this good entrepreneur?
I think that, and this is where I have to balance myself. I think that our experience in this part of the world is very different. And so a lot of times, while a lot of the reasons I can use myself for an example, if you're not willing, so you got that grit, but if that grit is traumatic, then sometimes that grit you can have as much of that, but you have to be able to constructively deal with the trauma. And we're seeing this with men and women. To whereas you could say you're going to work hard, but if you're not dealing with the trauma properly, it doesn't matter. You're not going to get a constructive result. So we can go through a lot of stuff, but because the planet this part of the world is so anti-Black, Brandon, it makes it more difficult. And so I really think, and this is my opinion, we have to start having very honest conversations about where we are. And I like what Mr. Fuller says. When we're talking about if you're on a football field, you played sports. I played 1 year basketball. That's not me. You played sports. When you're on the football field, Brandon, you could not lie if y'all ended the fourth quarter and Brandon's team scored. Y'all had 0 and the other team had 80. Right. You can't lie about that. You can't fantasize about that. We lost, they won. You couldn't go the next day and try to convince people, no. We need to start having these conversations saying right now we are losing. And the only way to win is for us to deal with our own stuff. No one is coming to save you. And the reason why I'm bringing that up when it comes to grit, Brandon, is because we're not saying that.
Right.
We're telling ourselves we're winning. I'm even going to use this with college education. I do mortgage loans. People are walking into my office with $200,000 and $300,000 worth of debt. Is that winning? That's a question.
No.
that's not winning. And I understand it, but we have to be honest with ourselves, man. This is not what winning is supposed to look like. So we have to change our goalposts a little bit, ask ourselves specifically, how is this grit? And if we have this grit, how are we really going to utilize it? Because I agree. Gary V, I'm going to get back to your question. Gary V was having a conversation. It might have been with Nipsey or Jim Jones. And he had them, I think it was Jim Jones. And Gary V said to Jim Jones, when they were talking about what happens if the market tanks and, if the stock market and stuff like that. And Gary V looked at him straight in the eye. This is a white guy. And he said, man, listen, if the world goes to crap, I'm betting on y'all. He said, because he said, not me, but other guys, these Wall Street puppies and these guys that went to Harvard and stuff like that, they know adversity when they have bad grades. They don't know adversity when your stomach hungry.
Right.
It's a little different. And he said, you guys fall, you figure it out, and you get back up again. And he said, that's why the hip hop is so amazing, is because it's literally from nothing. Right. It is from nothing. So that was Gary V. And I thought that was really, really key. But the reason why I found it so good was because he wasn't coming at them from a standpoint as if they couldn't compete. He said, no, you guys can compete. You just don't know you can compete yet. You've gone through the trauma, you've gone through the grit, and look where you guys are. We should be dead. Let's be real. Black people in this country, we should be dead. We should be done. But we're not, because we can compete. And so going back to the grit part, it can help us, but you have to admit that you're losing the game. The positive, like for example, when I got better, my best friend, Rayvon Hicks, I love him to death. He said, we were going over my bank statements. He looked at my credit, Brandon. He looked at everything. He said, bro, I love you, but you are too smart to be this broke. Changed my life.
Yep.
Because another black man that I admired literally wasn't babying me, was like, look, bro, we're better. And my life has changed over the last 2.5 years. And when I say dramatically, it has totally changed. But he had to remind me, hey, bro, you can compete out here. We are not supposed to be mediocre. We are men. We're not created to be lower or anything of that nature. We are men, and we get it from the mud. And so I think that we have to remember, but we're also losing this game. So I need everybody to be, on call, but we can't lie to ourselves and act like we're winning. We're not. But that doesn't mean we can't. And go back to Mr. Fuller, Brandon. That's what Mr. Fuller says.
Right.
You're losing the game. But what is the goal? To solve the problem. We get emotional about it. Man, we winning. I can't believe, man, we losing. Oh my God. No. Damn, we losing. All right, y'all, what we gonna do? Brandon, you played football before.
Yeah.
Quarterback gets sacked. Right. This is a great analogy. Yeah. After the quarterback gets sacked, what do y'all immediately go do?
We huddle up and we figure out we make an adjustment.
There. You stop right there. Yep. We huddle up. Guess what y'all in that huddle saying? How the hell did you let that linebacker come through and hit old Mike like that? And the linebacker's like, man, my bad, dude. I got to make that block. Okay, this is how they're coming. We make an adjustment. You see how so we can do it in sports.
Right.
We can do it on the football field.
Right.
But we have to be able to do it in real life, not fantasy, Brandon.
Right.
We got to use those experiences and do it in real life, man.
Right.
Real life.
Absolutely. I mean, man, I think that might be a good place to stop, bro. Like,
look, man. Yeah, bro. Yeah,
I mean, you're on point, man. You have to make that adjustment now, because the blitzes are going to keep coming at you. And if your offensive line, which is your knowledge, skills, and talents, aren't protecting your quarterback, which is your ability to make a play, you're never going to get that ball down the field.
Never.
And because not only is the other team opposing you, the damn field ain't even on your side, bro. They didn't even fix the terrain. You ain't got no cheerleaders. Your coach, he ain't paying attention. The crowd is their crowd. You on their turf. But guess what? You still can win, but you're gonna have to make some major adjustments right now to win that game. Because really,
100%.
If you think about it, man, for a lot of especially young black men, the first quarter is just getting started for y'all. Like, there's some favorable things that are happening.
Oh yeah.
You got to utilize
the internet. Yeah, man.
You got to utilize this technology. Utilize your culture. Everybody capitalizes on black culture, but black people, man.
Everybody.
You use your culture and then use your masculinity, your masculine frame. Don't be scared of it. All this toxic masculinity talk and all this negative narrative around black men. Don't let that stop us, because what that does is it keeps us stunted. And when we're stunted, we don't develop and grow. So connect with other brothers who are like-minded. Reach out to us if you have any questions. Keep watching this podcast, because what we're trying to do is help move black men forward to the best of our abilities, because we can do it. We do it individually all the time. Yes. Time is now to do it collectively. 100%. Any final words from you, Aaron?
Man, listen, I use an app. It's called Think Up. I'm going to share it with everybody. And a Think Up app is positive affirmations. And what I say to myself every morning is that you are enough. And you are everything that you have everything you need. You are enough, black men, and you have everything that you need to compete, to win, to be successful, to solve these problems, to end racism. Everything we need, we have. We have to be honest about our circumstances, and then we have to huddle up. That's a good football analogy. Figure out what's going to be constructive, not creating more problems. That's another thing. We can't be trying to solve problems and creating new ones. We got to only be solving problems. So we got to huddle up, be positive with each other, but also be honest. And sometimes as black men, we're not very honest with each other. If we're seeing bad behavior, sometimes we're like, man, if I see Brandon over here and he's making some poor money decisions, we just say, oh, that's Brandon. No, but it ain't. But it becomes different when it's, oh, that's Brandon and he and his family are out on the street. So we need to be positive with each other, but also we need to be firm and have a stance for what we're supposed to be as Black men, to be professionals, professionals, entrepreneurs, business owners, everything of that nature, and we can do some achievement. So I just appreciate the platform. I hope people found some constructive information on this, and we'll be back with another great episode as soon as we can.
That's right, folks. So definitely subscribe to the Jegna and the Thinker, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace.